All right, guys. Well, that's starting up. I cut Tiblio over on April 17th, so a couple of weeks ago, and I sent out some emails to everyone about all of the changes coming to Tiblio. And I've been promising a video, and I've said I'm going to go live or I'm going to record a video, and I just haven't done it. So this video is going to be pretty raw, but it is literally just me getting with the program and going ahead and getting it done and getting some information out there for you guys so that you can use the new software that I'm extremely excited about, actually. So, you know, this is just everything that I say is for informational purposes only. I will, of course, possibly mention tickers, specific companies, specific strategies. I'm not recommending any trading program for any of you guys. You know, this is the let's be an adult section. Okay, I'm here to try to help, and that's, you know, Tiblio's whole mission. So a couple of weeks ago, we rolled out some really major changes, right? And this was an entirely new build from the ground up. So all new software, all new backend, all new database, all new front end, all new login system, everything. We maintained a lot of things. So we maintained the option bot and the algorithms, but they were, of course, completely rewritten and ported so they will be easier to work on going forward. Okay, we enhanced and beefed up the Telegram integration. I know we'd had the Telegram integration for a while, but it was very difficult to use. It wasn't very clear, so now there's a section you can manage your Telegram key, and you can go in and connect Telegram, and there are some real reasons why you would want to do that. Okay, the big thing for the screeners is that we removed redundant data. So if you're like me and most other Tiblio users, I think you normally have your broker screen open, and then you have your Tiblio screen open. And so for Tiblio to repeat the bid, ask, volume, and other general option data that you already have in your broker is just redundant. It takes up space on the screen. So we removed all of that, okay? And then we rewrote and rebuilt the screeners really to shift the focus from implied volatility to historical volatility. And so implied volatility is what the market makers are pricing in right now. The historical volatility is how has this stock performed over the last year, say. And so by moving from current implied volatility to historical volatility, then we're actually able to compare the two together so that we can see how is volatility changing over time for the stock, and how is the historical volatility compared to the current implied volatility, and how is the historical volatility compared to this stock's previous historical volatility, right? So we have an IV rank now in the screeners. And then, of course, the big one that, you know, that I've always been a big fan of is just automation. So everything that you're going to see coming from Tiblio going forward is going to be grounded in automation. If you have seen us, we've rolled out our option bot a couple of different times. First, it was called Tiblio AI, then it was option bot, and it was heavily restricted. And so I've been very careful about who I've let in and spoken to and authorized to use option bot. But that is no longer the case. So everyone logged into the platform has access to option bot, and option bot is the future. Okay, so on our roadmap going forward, you're going to see more integrations coming, and you're going to see more strategies coming. So we're working on spread strategy, vertical spreads right now, and hopefully we'll roll out spreads in OptionBot in a couple of weeks. Okay, and then as we go, you're going to see more robust execution. You're going to see better reporting and better performance, and you're going to see all of that surfaced right through the user interface. Okay. So, so let's get into it. The user interface is completely different. When you first log in, you're going to land on this home screen where you're going to see the main areas of the app here at the top, and then some latest headlines, right? And then you're going to have the same thing going down the left. Okay, so we go into the screener. This is really where I think everybody's going to see the biggest changes. These are the screeners now running off of historical data. So this screener will update. You can see it says updated 3:44 a.m. That's Pacific time. That's my time. That time will show in your local time zone. But you should see that screener was updated early in the morning because it takes a few hours to crunch all of the data in the morning and then update everything. And then of course, what we would like to have is that if you want live data, you can come over here and restrict the screener to your watch list and then click live to start bringing in data from your brokerage to update the screener in real time or with whatever data that your brokerage provides. Right now the market is closed, so that's not available, but that's how you would do that. So the screener will update in real time with that. Otherwise, it's updating now from yesterday's closing data. If you come into the screener, and I was chatting with someone in the Discord, but if you come into the screener and you see one of these and you go to your brokerage and you're like, hey, the price is not, this doesn't look right, check what was going on with it. Most of the time, we're selling options that expire in at least a few days, but probably 30 to 40 days out, in which case a few hours move from yesterday to today is not going to break the thesis, meaning it's not going to completely change the score, change the EMA, change the volatility regime that we're talking about here, but sometimes it does. And the number one time that it will do that is, of course, over earnings. So if you see that things just really aren't lining up, that's the first thing to check, is just, was there a big move in the overnight session or in the early morning session that would have changed the thesis? And then, of course, if that's the case, then just ignore that trade, because when the screener does update, then the following morning, that will likely come off. Okay, so you'll see going across the top the different kinds of screeners. The puts, calls, and spreads should all look familiar. The new one that you're going to see is called Vol Crush, and this is a different kind of volatility crush. This is happening after earnings. And so what we have here is the days since. This is days since earnings. And what we would like to do is say, okay, the big move should have happened, but there's still some volatility squeeze left in it. Now we can enter the put trade, and we're not taking on all of that earnings risk. We're taking on a little bit, especially if there was a big dip. A lot of times we'll see a big dip followed by continued down, a big raise followed by continued drift up. But you also see a big down move followed by a V-shaped spike right back. The idea here is that the remaining amount of volatility is going to just bleed out over a few days, and then it should be smooth sailing from there. So a lot of these are going to be lower priced. It's a different kind of trade. It's kind of an experimental screener that we're running with. When it's on earnings week, like it was this week and last week, we're going to see more names on here. When we're not in earnings season, this screener is most likely going to be empty. Okay, and then earnings and dividends, I think you guys are familiar with. And then low beta is really just our stock screener showing stocks that typically move less than the market. So these are all going to have a beta of less than 1. Okay, so just really quick, I'm going to go over and highlight a few additional changes to the screener. Okay, so we have on here, we have the big one, HV rank. So historical volatility for this stock compared to its historical volatility, where is it at? And where it currently trades. So a 100 would be it's setting a new historical volatility high, and a 0 would be it's at the bottom of where it ever trades in historical volatility. So we want to see HV, pretty high, and we want to see it coming down and starting to contract. And you get that indicator over here on the right, where you can see the vol regime. I'm going to adjust my window a little bit. And And the vol regime will either be expanding or contracting. And we want it to be contracting. And why is that? Because when we sell an option, let's say we sell an option for $1 and then volatility goes up, the option price goes up. We're losing money. If we sell it for $1 and volatility goes down, the price goes down, we're making money. So we want volatility, historical volatility, to peak, and then we want to start to see it contract, and we want to start selling puts on stocks where the vol regime is contracting, but it's still elevated, so we get a good price. Okay, the other interesting ones on here are the edge. So the edge coming in is going to be a comparison of the price of that option contract to the theoretical price. Okay, so we're using historical volatility and the option price to calculate the theoretical price and compare that to the currently traded option price. Now, of course, that price is a historical price from the prior day close. So when you open up your broker, you'll see whether or not that edge still holds, if you can capture any of it or not. Okay, and then another really interesting part of the screener is the structure. So you can highlight over this, and I think we have a little something to fix risk flags too. So this is saying earnings are in 19 days. So this option has 48 days on it, but earnings are in 19 days. That means that this option is going to go across, or you would be holding it over the earnings date. So that's a risk flag. And you'll see also, okay, volatility is expanding. So it's another risk flag. And we're gonna capture these risk flags, and if the risk flags breach some sort of threshold in the score, then the structure here will be noted as a spread. And that is, okay, sell the put, but then go down to like a 5 delta and buy a put as protection against the black swan event. You don't want to sell the put naked over earnings, like on Roblox, stock beat earnings, I believe, but then it just crashed, right? So if we think that there's a higher probability of something like that happening, then we're gonna call it out here, and the structure will be presented as a spread. It doesn't mean that we're saying what the spread is going to be. It really just means buy protection for that, because there's a higher probability of a bigger move than what we would like. Okay, I'm gonna move on from the screener and quickly touch base on the watch list. So the watch list has also changed quite a bit, and you'll see that it's recentered around HV rank, and you have a nice pretty analyst graph, and you also get to see where it's trading within the 52-week range. So we're going for a 52-week range, HV range, rank, pretty much same, and you get a little indicator about whether volatility is expanding or contracting. Okay, and then you can sort these on market cap if you want to look at the market cap, and then you can of course see yesterday's price for the stock as well. And this also goes that if it's during market hours, you can go ahead and click live, and then this data will start streaming in from your broker. Okay, the journal is largely unchanged. So you can come in here and log trades in the journal just like you always could have. And you can come in and close them, and you can see your stats. I haven't gotten in here to rebuild my journal, but it works pretty much the same that it did before. Now it will also be connected to one of your brokers, and you'll see this banner up here if there's a problem. Also, if there's a problem or there's a notification or alert, you're also going to see these in the little bell icon now in the app. So you can see, yeah, my profit target was hit on this put, and it also thinks that I need to reconnect my brokerage accounts, which effectively just this alert is thrown in here when we encounter an error in trying to connect to the broker, pull data, or submit an order. Okay, I'm really big on the Atlas portfolio. Our Atlas portfolio is our paper traded portfolio, and I treat this as a walk forward test of the whole strategy, which is just selling puts basically. I sell puts following the wheel strategy, so if I get assigned, I just come in and sell calls. We can't do that in paper money, and so what we do here is we have a stop at about 200%. There are still a few bugs with this, meaning this strategy is, I believe, currently selling put options across earnings, which is terrible, and I need to get that fixed. I need to get the data out of there and correct that. However, On the grand scheme of things, you can see that even with these mistakes, selling puts is by and large profitable. It does have its downtimes. The week of July 27th, we lost $26,000. And then here during the Iran war, the volatility in the market has caused the put selling to kind of get on the wrong side of that. And so you'll see that we're losing here. I'm starting to put in major market events around here so that we can kind of see, well, when the Iran war started, volatility spiked, volatility regimes expanding, we don't really want to be selling puts. The Atlas portfolio continued to sell puts through that and continues to sell puts through that, so that we can see how that works with major geopolitical events happening and other events across the stocks. This is also the newsletter that you guys see that goes out to paying members every morning with a complete write-up of one of the trades that was opened that day. And then you can come in and take a look at all of the rest of the trades that have opened. You can also download this data. You'll notice this download CSV over here on the right is on just about every screen, and so you'll be able to see that. You can switch this to spreads. The Atlas portfolio is also tracking put spreads and call spreads. I don't really talk much about it. I don't really look at it very much, but they are tracked in here. And as I roll out spreads in the option bot, then I'll start talking more about spreads here in the Atlas portfolio as well. So you can look at those and you can look at this data as well. It's really just a testament for put selling in general. So I'm not doing anything incredibly special. I do have an algorithm on the back end that selects the stocks. The stocks are selected from the screener. So these stocks going forward in the Atlas portfolio will be based on HV rank, EMA, and how that compares to current IV. And then of course we have an algorithm that penalizes the stocks. So take Roblox for example, it crashed. If I have a losing trade in here on Roblox, it's gonna get penalized, which means that penalty has to decay over time before that stock can come back in and be traded again. Okay, going really fast, switching to market news. There's nothing really here. You can come in and look at this. All of the algorithms in Tiblio also take into account the news, and the Atlas write-up as well each morning takes into account the news. And then onto the option bot. So on here you'll see, and for anyone that had the option bot configured prior to the cutover, you may come in and see something like this, like unnamed bot, and something may not be complete. So when we migrated all the bots over, we paused them all. You're gonna need to come in and activate it. So you're gonna need to click on activate. First, go in and view the configuration for that bot. Make sure that all of your symbols are in place and that everything looks right, and then go ahead and activate it. For everyone new to Option Bot, effectively what this does is it allows you to fully configure your wheel strategy, your put selling strategy, your covered calls strategy, however you like to do it. You can do one side, the other, or you can do both. You come in and configure the main bot settings first. First is capital management. So how much of the capital in your account should be considered by this bot. It can be from 0 to 100%. So if you have $100,000 and you do 50%, then the bot will see $50,000. Then you have your main strategy settings. So you have put and call days to expiration and put and call deltas. So in the options world, if you're defining deltas by days to expiration, or if you're defining options by days to expiration and delta, you've pretty much narrowed down to one option will fit those constraints the best. And so when this bot goes to sell options, it finds the one that fits those constraints the best and then tries to sell it. Then we have a profit taker. You can come in and configure your profit anywhere from 0 to 100%. If it is at 100%, that effectively disables the profit taker because the option will never be at 100% profit, meaning it decays to 0 while there's time left. If there's any time left at all, it will not be 0. And so we'll have to expire to get to 100%. I think very typical for investors, somewhere between 80 to 90%. Depends on how fast you want to roll the strategy. So if you let it go all the way to expiration, then that's the maximum amount of time that you can have before you sell the next option. if you're cutting them off at 70, 80%. If there's a big move in your favor, the option hits 80%, you close it for profit, and then you can sell another put. So you're rolling the strategy much more quickly. Okay, order sizing per order, per day, and per week. If you're trading lower priced stocks, then this will allow you to make sure that you don't sell 10 or 20 contracts in a single order or a single day, that those are spread out. And effectively, if you come in and look at the per week, if you're selling 25 to 30% of the position per week, then effectively it'll take you 3 to 4 weeks to scale into that position fully. And if you've been watching me at all, you know that I'm a big fan of scaling. Scaling is a huge part of risk control. And then when you're fully scaled in, every week you have options falling off and you're able to sell new options. Okay, and then you have some advanced settings here for the buy order offset and the sell order offset. Let me make sure that you guys can see that. Okay, so yeah, buy order offset, sell order offset. This is if you're trading something that's a little less liquid, this will allow the bot to move the price in between the bid-ask spread so that it can get filled. So it's always going to try to start to sell a little bit high, and then it'll walk the price down, okay? And it's always going to try to buy to close low and then walk the price up. These offsets from mid allow you to control how much it can do that. Okay, then you can avoid assignment. If I had an option expiring in American Airlines today. If it's expiration day and that option is in the money and it's profitable, so I have a 11 strike call option on American Airlines. If American Airlines is trading over 11, then it's in the money. But if it's trading like around 11.05 or 11.10, I sold it for 40 cents, it's expiration day, it would actually be profitable. If that's the case, the profit taker will just go ahead and accept any profit and close that so that you do not take assignment, because brokers usually charge assignment fees. Okay, you can look at the rest of the options there. Ask me if you have any questions. The next thing that you do is you come in and configure your equities. So for each equity, you can override those settings, and you also determine the weight, how much of my account should be allocated to this equity. Okay, you can see all of the history of all of the runs that happen automatically for you. And you can see in here for each run what the bot was doing and what it was thinking, how it calculated different parts of your position. And here it's saying, yeah, I would sell a covered call on pins on Pinterest for you, but I have a strike limit set to say do not sell calls below 30. And Pinterest, unfortunately, is still below 20, I think, or right around 20. So yeah, it's not going to be able to sell call options for quite a while. All right, then you can see the whole history of orders that were sent and filled. And then of course you get the overview on the dashboard, and you have a nice button here that you can run it. You can also run to take profit here, so you can totally just pause the bot and not use any of the automation, but then you can run the whole strategy yourself just by clicking run bot there. All right, that's the option bot. And yes, coming up, spreads. If you have another strategy that you would like me to cover, then please reach out. Just email me, support@tiblio.com, or find me in the Discord and say, hey, it would be really great if you had this strategy too. I would love it. Okay, going on to alerts. We used to have SMS alerts. We don't anymore. I'm recommending that everybody just connects Telegram. SMS, I'm sure your phones are like my phone in that the phone is basically broken. And as part of that, the carriers are really trying to tighten up on who can send SMS messages. The price is going through the roof. And it's difficult to control. It's difficult for you to control. It's difficult for me to control. So we're just going to move to Telegram. If you want email alerts, we'll send those. Same sort of thing. It may go to your spam. It may go here, may go there. You'll want to create a rule for it. Make sure that you get it. I really recommend Telegram. These alerts are primarily for trades logged in the trade journal, but we will be expanding the alerts to other things like the take profit from the option bot, for example. And then you come in here and configure where you want these alerts for the trade journal to fire. So if you log a trade in the trade journal. Let me know when it hits this profit. Let me know when it hits this loss. Okay, and then you can connect any of these brokers. And one thing that I'll mention about the brokers is that you don't have to connect the broker. Like if you just want to see your data in Tiblio and you want to see the screeners update and you want to see your watch list update live and you want better alerts while you're in here looking at it, you don't have to use the account that you trade out of, right? So with your broker, you can open another account. I've got multiple accounts at Tasty Trade. I'm sure I have multiple accounts at TradeStation and Tradier. I have accounts at Alpaca that is not even funded yet, right? And I have multiple accounts at Schwab. So you can come in and connect one, and then when you connect it in OAuth, and I know especially Schwab is really good about this, you can check which accounts are even visible to the OAuth provider. So you can say, oh, you know what, just make this account visible. It doesn't have any money in it, but that's connected to my overall account data, so that you can see the data, right? So that's another strategy that you can use if you would like to see the numbers updating on the screen in Tiblio, but you're not quite ready to connect your brokerage account. I will say that everything is very secure. These connect to your broker through OAuth. You and your broker are always in the driver's seat, always in control of everything. In none of these brokers, there's never even the ability to move money. So nothing like that can ever actually happen. And then the keys expire all the time. And after you connect, you'll see that this notification up in the upper left will be going off constantly. I don't know if you guys can see that notification there. That notification in the upper left, this guy will be going off all the time. And then that brings us to Telegram. And so we've been actually connected to Telegram for a long time. But the integration was never really that straightforward, was not really well documented. You had no way to rotate your Telegram token. It was extremely limited. Now we've fully built that out to be completely robust. So you can come in and regenerate your token for security. If you want, just rotate the token every now and then, reconnect it in Telegram, you're good to go. And then you can just go and literally chat with the Telegram bot. So you connect with Telegram, you say, hey, what can you do for me? It'll tell you everything that it can do. You can add stocks to your screeners, which stocks on the screener, ask for the news for a stock, basically interact with your account, but through Telegram. And we're going to be expanding what you can do in Telegram as we go. All right. That is about it. That's, I think, all that I have for you for today. That's really the update in a nutshell. So if you have questions or concerns, always just please reach out to me. I think I'm super excited. I hope that you're excited about the direction that Tiblio is going with better data, more data, historical back testing of these strategies, the walk forward test with Atlas, and then of course all of the automation that goes on with OptionBot, now available to everyone with a paid account. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers, enjoy.